What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking a look at the list of characters available with the purchasable purple stones here in the Baba Shop. So there's some little packs you can pick up here where we can get this TUR purple stone here. And then it looks like you're going to be able to buy 3 of them in total because there's the first pack that gives out 1, and then the second pack that's going to be giving you 2 of these stones. So you'll get 3 of the TUR ones total if you buy both of these packs, and then I believe 1 LR one afterward if you step up to that point of being able to buy that pack. So they are a little bit pricey for sure, but if you are one of the players dipping your toes in that part of the game, then let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going to be the best value for you. I'm just going to be link leveling on the side while we're doing this, because why not? Okay, so the first thing to note here is they have actually, it seems like every celebration now that they bring out these new characters, they make them so, they keep giving better and better rosters of these characters, right? So like, obviously these are the Golden Week TURs, like Dokkan Fest from 2 years ago. So that's pretty good. Or I guess it is from last year still, huh? So yeah, they are decent. I don't know about if they're going to be the best thing on this list, because the thing is, these are very new, but then this list goes all the way down to like very, very old stuff. We're talking like super easy A's and things like that, right? Or like things that haven't yet gotten easy A's but are very, very close to it. Whereas these characters much toward the top are going to be like characters that have just been power crept, but it's going to be years before the easy A, right? So a lot of these units might not be the smartest to get because they're on their way out, not on their way in. So you're not going to see a lot of use for them for a while. So just keep that in mind as we go through these first, this first chunk here. So yeah, I don't know, any of these first 4 on screen, I probably wouldn't say are worth picking up. Other than the Goku, like, okay, the Goku's not worth picking up simply because there's a million other, like, Buu Saga and Movie Heroes Gokus that are very, very good, right? This guy just has a Movie Heroes leader skill that's not, like, super useful for you. There's a lot of other units in the game that can cover that kind of a leader skill, so he's not too needed as a leader. He is a very good unit, but there's also a lot of other good Super Saiyan 3 Gokus in the game at the moment. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's like a staple, but you definitely will get use out of him if you decide to, he definitely has a good spot on a team at the moment, right? So if you did decide to pick him up, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Harudegarn being an extreme class option is always, a decent option to go for. If you're someone that does enjoy the dodge or die type of gameplay style, then he could be for you. But he is definitely getting aged out. He is very, very, very much dodge or die at this point. And then on top of that, he's not really doing much damage anymore, right? Android 21, I would say, is a better example of a dodge or die unit, just because of Majin Power being so strong right now, and Peppy Gals being so strong. Her being, fitting in those 2 places is kind of cool. So she could be helpful for that kind of thing. A lot of these are like really good for missions. Like some of these characters are they cover very niche categories, right? Like the Gohan and Piccolo, they are pretty strong. You're probably only going to be wanting to run them on like a Saiyan Saga category though. But they definitely perform well in that place. So kind of niche. Yeah, pretty much like all 3 of these are going to be like more niche characters you're not going to get a ton of use out of. I would say the same thing for 17 and 18. Honestly, they're probably not a worthwhile unit to get. Just because if you're ever running anything Universe Survival Saga, there is so much better stuff in the game that they just don't really even have a spot on the team. They're maybe not even the 20th best Universe Survival Saga unit in the game at this point. Okay, this Trunks, no, definitely. He's just aged out now. He was just like a damage dealing unit for a little bit, and he was never good defensively, and now he's been power crept, so definitely don't get this Trunks. That would be a bad choice. This Turles is decent-ish. There's better extreme class options around now. I've never been a huge fan of Turles, so it's a little bit of my bias, but he's meh at best. I wouldn't really say he's worth it. Yeah, this 23rd World Tournament Goku has been power crept quite insanely. The only reason I would mention getting him is for his leader skill, because the Earthbred Fighter's leader skill is obviously very, very useful in a massive amount of content in the game. There are so many different missions and stuff where you can just actually use an Earthbred Fighters category, but then because there's so many units on it, you can, you need to do an accelerated battle missions. Great. there's probably a bunch of Earthbred Fighters characters that can get the job done for you, right? It's like that for so many different categories. So it's really useful to have this guy around for that. But I would probably mention, oh, is he on the list? Yeah, Yamcha would just be a better option. If you're looking for the Earthbred Fighter's leader skill, I would pick Yamcha. Because he's got the dodging, he definitely holds up better in today's meta than this Goku, who needs to take and receive attacks in order to, in order to build up defense and everything. Okay, this right here is the number one choice. In my opinion, this is the number one choice. Piccolo Jr. He's the most useful unit in the game. If you do not have this unit, getting a single copy of him is going to change your life. He's got that start of turn 1 AoE active skill, so he can just demolish all the enemies. That is amazing for me, for link leveling. You can see the stage I'm playing right now. I'm facing off against a party of 5, so having Piccolo Juniors around can be really good. He's insane for World Tournament, the best World Tournament unit in the game. That's going to make your World Tournament grind a lot less gruesome because it's just going to go so quick and you don't have to really pay attention to what's going on to make sure you don't die and accidentally not using items, all this stuff, right? You're just going to swipe up with his active skill and win for free. So yeah, very, very good unit there. And then he also is insane for Super Battle Road as well. There's quite a few different Super Battle Road stages you can get away with using him on. And he has a pretty versatile leader skill, and he's on quite a few teams. So it's pretty easy to use him in quite a few places. But yeah, there's basically no place in the game that this guy isn't useful. He still can see some use in like red zone stages. There are some red zone stages and like end game content and stuff that is now just in the challenge tab and not in the awakening tab. But yeah, all of that stuff, there are a lot of those fights where the first couple of phases you're fighting against multiple enemies, so his AoE active could be useful there. Also attack breaking all the enemies. And then let's not forget, he does have a giant transformation too. And the giant transformation is going to come in clutch for you towards the end of, some tougher fights and giving you like a free turn to make sure that the enemies can't super you and everything. So yeah, very, 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 very good unit. He is a staple in Dokkan Battle these days. Definitely get that guy if you don't have him. And then the only reason I would say you need dupes in him maybe is for like World Tournament, just so that you can make sure you're you have like full crit on him or whatever, so that he's like always killing the enemies in one go. But he pretty much does that anyway. Okay, Kale's definitely fallen off. She's probably not worth getting. This God Goku maybe would be a little bit more worth getting. He is a heavily dodge-reliant unit, so, he still can have a chance. And he's also got a really solid leader skill. The Pure or Hybrid Saiyans is so useful for, like, the versatility of being able to build whatever teams you want, right? So even though he is usually the worst unit on the team when I build his team, I do find myself using him as a leader every now and then. And then usually it's like a different unit as a friend leader, but especially if there's like a friend lead that you want to use that you didn't pull, then this would be a good example of a unit that you can throw in place, assuming that the unit you're trying to use is a pure hybrid Saiyan, which is a lot of the game, so. Okay, 17 and 17, no. This unit is just very bad at this point. I definitely wouldn't invest anything in them. We already talked about Yamcha here. Yeah, this Bardock has fallen off very hard. And then unfortunately, so have the Gammas. Even Gamma 1 at this point, just the stacking damage reduction that he's got is not quite cutting it. These bosses are just hitting way too hard nowadays for them to keep up. So it's going to be easy A time for them. Yeah, same kind of deal with Path to Power Kid Goku. Like, he was very, very strong while he lasted. Yeah, the three of them are... Don't get me wrong here. The three of them, and I would say especially Gamma 1, are like above, leagues above, like Kale and like 17 and 17 and like Bardock. Like, all those units are just like kind of trash at this point, right? You could maybe get away with using these units on the team kind of thing as like a sixth option, but they're definitely not quite as overtuned as they once were. Pan is definitely definitely not. Oh, goodness gracious. Is she on Grade 8 Power? She's not on Giant 8 Power. Okay, yeah, so she didn't even get... I mean, it makes sense that she's not, but I just needed to make sure, because of the GT shenanigans, maybe they did something weird. But yeah, not being on Giant 8 Power means she's not on the new Carnival LR's leader skill, so she didn't get a buff during the anniversary just now. So yeah, I would say no for her. Definitely no for the Evolution Blue Boys, not it. Yeah, probably not for this guy either. Now we're starting to get to units that are old enough they could potentially get easy A's, right? This bottom of the stack down here, we could potentially see, like, it is possible we've got a couple of slots left on the roadmap for Android Cell Saga. In fact, all 3 slots that are available for Android Cell Saga have still not been revealed, and 2 of them are slated to be EZAs. We got some Android Cell Saga units that are just about waiting for EZAs right here. So, you know, if it is the case, and I always forget to say this at the beginning of these videos, but you should definitely hang on to these stones until we know what the part 2 banners are going to be, right? Because there's a lot, and what like the part 2 EZAs are going to be. You should definitely hang on to these stones until the end of the celebration so that we know you're not going to accidentally spend on something that was, you know, something else would have been more worthwhile because it EZA'd and you didn't know it was going to, and now it's a really good card and you don't have it. Or if something's going to show up on a banner in part 2 and then you're just going to pull it, right? So, yeah, things to watch out for. But I think it is possible that these units EZA during this celebration. So that could be massive if they do. Raditz, no. Majin Vegeta, again, I guess possible that he could get an EZA. And then that would be sick. Otherwise, I would say definitely not. Same deal with Ginyu. Okay. Now we've got to talk about these 2 boys. These are absolutely worth your coin, or your stone. They are busted. Probably like top 5 EZAs in the game right now. Maybe like top 20 units overall. Something like that. That's just me throwing out numbers. I could be completely wrong. And obviously that's going to change before today and after today, being that the new part 1 headliners have released, right, for the anniversary here. But yeah, both of these units are ridiculous. Definitely, absolutely worth the stone to spend on them. The androids here definitely, you know, have been power crept to shit at this point. They have fallen off very hard, but their active skill is still very useful in a lot of different places, especially in EZA stages. And I have actually gotten away with running them in some other type of endgame content, some red zone stages and things like that. So yeah, they can definitely see some use specifically because of that active skill, right? So still some value there. AGL Trunks is another Android Cell Saga character that I have mentioned could potentially be seeing an EZA during this celebration, possibly. And, you know, that would be great for him if he did, but right now he is nothing. He is trash. Same thing with the Kale and Caulifla. Dokkan Fest here, definitely not good. Wouldn't pick them up. Super Vegeta was good for a couple weeks when he first EZA'd, but he is already starting to get a little bit power crept. He can still put out a lot of damage, but he's not putting out quite as much damage as some other units, and these other units that are putting out more damage are doing better defensively than him too. So, you know, perfect examples is these 2 right here. They hit harder and they have better defensive mechanics. So, yeah, Super Vegeta is definitely not it. Kid Gohan would need to see an EZA for him to be a viable option. Same deal with these guys here. Obviously, we know that, well, yeah, we know that none of these are going to be getting EZAs during the celebration just because of what slots are left on the roadmap. We know we have nothing left from GT, and Saiyan Saga is pretty much taken up with other EZAs that we assume are going to happen, right? Videl is decent. Videl's pretty good. She's got some use cases for sure. You know, being the de facto, like, Peppy Gal's lead is pretty good. She's the only, like... Actually, I'm not 100% sure. Oh, this isn't hyperlinked. Can I do this? Oh, okay. So we have... obviously, Master Roshi technically counts as a Peppy Gal lead. Okay, great. But then... yeah, we have Android 21 that's a Peppy Gal lead. And then other than that, she's the only real... Peppy Gal leader, and she is still technically the best one with the 180% stats, right? So yeah, that is good, especially if you think about the Heroine Battle event. It has some really tough Peppy Gal missions. She could be a very useful leader for that if you don't have someone like Master Roshi in the way to be able to take care of those. This Broly... Honestly, I would say with the other units around that we've been looking at, this Broly here wouldn't be worth it. Like, there are so many other good Brolys in the game already that this guy's probably like the 4th or 5th best one. And then on top of that, he's probably like the 4th or 5th best EZA on this list, right? There's some other really monster hitters here. And none other than the Goten and Trunks right below him. I would say they would be a better pick. Their leader skill is pretty fire, honestly. I enjoy using their team. Gifted Warriors and Kamehameha can be fun. And they are just an absolute unit. They've got a lot of dodge. They've got a lot of attack. Like it's fun to use them, and they're easy to use. And they're as powerful as they're going to be out the gates. It's fun to use them. They're a nice card. Okay, these two here, man, these units have really held up. I am excited for these two to EZA because of their mechanics, right? Getting all kinds of support and guard and dodge and damage reduction for themselves, based on like the orbs that they're selecting, is just kind of really cool mechanics to have, for a character that could potentially be like the leader of your team and stuff, right? Being able to have two of them around especially. So yeah, it would be exciting to see them get EZAs, but until then, I don't know if their mechanics are quite useful enough in the end game content these days for it to be worth picking them up. Probably not. Bojack, yeah, he's pretty solid. Definitely a good EZA. I would say he's a better EZA character than like the Int Broly. Yeah, maybe around their level. Probably like tier 2 on the EZAs, I'll say here. If we had to put them in tiers really quick, just to give you guys an idea, these two are tier 1. And then I would say like maybe they're like tier 2, and then these two are like tier 3. And then he's tier 2 as well. Yeah, I think I would commit to that. Okay, yeah, so unfortunately we know that Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is not going to be getting an EZA because there's no more GT stuff coming out for the anniversary, unfortunately. Frieza here, probably not going to be seeing an EZA either, so I would definitely say no to any of these. Tech Gohan's EZA, I think he has finally seen his time in the sun. I guess until the eventual day he super EZAs, right? But his EZA just has not held up the same way that his base card did for the longest time, just because of how exponential power creep has gotten, on just the straight up numbers side of thing, right? Where now we're to the point where if all the card can offer is stacking defense, then that's not going to be enough with just guard. Like, you need damage reduction on top of it. You need pretty much all of it at this point. You need guard, you need damage reduction, and you need defense. You need to have all of it active. If you're missing any one of those key components, then you're not going to be tanking supers, and you're going to get your team KO'd, right? That's basically where he's at this point. We are no longer in a pure defense meta. We were for years and years just in a defense meta, and the point of Dokkan Battle was log in and see how high you can get that defense stat. Now there's a lot more moving parts. They have made these fights a lot more interesting. There's a lot more like intricate components to the kits that are being released, as well as the enemy abilities, right? So he just doesn't have enough variety in his kit to handle this stuff anymore. And I don't think that he builds up quite quick enough to keep up with what's going on nowadays in 2025. So yeah, probably not Tech Ultimate Gohan. Kefla, I would say, is probably like a tier 2 EZA. She's pretty good. She maybe tier 3, because I put Int Broly there. Yeah, maybe tier 3, and then this guy's like tier 4. Yeah, I would put her like tier 3. I would put this guy at like tier 3 too. They're pretty decent. They're also like a tier 3 EZA, not bad here. Any of the three of them, you could definitely still see some use cases on teams for, especially these two, because they have dodging capability, so that's always useful, right? And they do hit decently hard. And then this guy, because he's on Majin Power, right? So Majin Power is just so strong. Throwing him on that strong of a team, he's going to have a hard time, looking like a chump. Okay, and then pretty quickly, just no to these bottom three. No. Not good units anymore. Okay, so now we are going to take a look at the other stone that's available here, the LR stone, now that we are finally through all of that ridiculously long list of TURs, which is actually very cool that they've invited that many options available, that there's that many options available for us. It is going to be a paid resource after all, right? So as you can see here, out the gates, they've got the 9th anniversary headliners on here. What the heck? That's crazy. You can just straight up buy the last year's headliners for free. Like, this kind of thing right here is making me feel a lot less bad about having not pulled all the anniversary headliners this time around. Because it's like, okay, you don't get the Jito this year. I mean, granted, you're going an entire year without the unit, so that's the downside there. But then just being able to get a guaranteed free copy in the shop, like, you would need to spend, I guess, $110 in order to be able to unlock the resources to, get this stone and then buy this character. But then it's guaranteed. you could easily spend $110 on Dragonstones, go in on the banner, and not get the headlining unit, right? But if you wait to do it here, then you're at least getting it for free guaranteed, right? So that is pretty cool that they're doing that. So obviously Beast Gohan would be a prime option to get with this Dragonstone. Definitely. I think without even fully remembering or knowing what's left in the rest of the list, he's probably the best option to get, right? Beast Gohan. He's like still basically potentially the best unit in the game. Like maybe now Vegito has replaced him. But I don't even know if the new Carnival LRs that were released are above him. I guess we'll see as people start to use these characters more, how the tier lists shake out. But it seems like Beast Gohan is still like top 3 right now. So that is very exciting stuff. Broly here, I would say probably is much less worth it than Beast, just because there's so many other good Brolys in the game, like I was saying. And the biggest problem that this Broly specifically has is that the Int LR Broly from the Worldwide Download Celebration also has a domain. Both Brolys do depend on their domain quite heavily, but I would say that the Int Broly depends on it even more, to the point where it's actually dangerous to have him on the team if he's not in the domain or post-domain state. So that being considered, usually if you're going to have that other Int Broly around, you're going to be prioritizing his domain activation. Also, it's just coincidental, his conditions for getting the domain out, the Int one, are a little bit easier. So all you need is uncontrollable power allies. You don't have a turn restriction like this guy does. So you're going to be able to get that Int one out sooner anyway. But yeah, so because of that, I've found that a lot of the times when I'm running this AGL Broly on the Int Broly team, then I'm just using the Int Broly domains, and then this guy never transforms and doesn't really ever get to excise his full potential. So I would, if you are planning to run him in that way, just understand that that is kind of a pseudo nerf that he has on the Broly team right now, unfortunately. Riverhan, Kakutsa, and Rosie. No, go ahead and don't get them. All right, and then the worldwide units from 2023 here. The blue, they sucked on release. This unit is just trash. If you're someone that supports this unit, I'm sorry. I don't know what you see in them. Yeah, they have cool animations, but other than that, they are pretty useless. There's just a million of them on the friends list because they have the free leader skill. But other than that, like, there's really no reason to be using this unit. There's so many better units that you could put on meta teams these days. They're just not it. Don't get them. They're not worth it. The Zamasu is a little bit more worth it. The Zamasu team has kind of officially been replaced by the Broly team as far as that de facto, like, go-to most amazing, like, put it this way, if you have make a Rainbow Extreme class team and that's your mission to, like, clear the event, last year it was like, yeah, build the Zamasu team, right? This year it's build the Broly team. So the entire Zamasu meta has kind of been like replaced a little bit. But that doesn't, mean that this guy is completely unusable, right? He is still very good. Yeah, I would say that he has been power crept a lot less than the Blue Boys here. So he still could be a viable pull for you. Oh, this is good. Okay. Int Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So he is on the new Carnival LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku's leader skill because he's Giant Ape Power. So this guy just got a massive buff. And one of the things that this guy was missing was that really, really, really strong slot 1 support, right? Because they made this guy a slot 1 unit, and then immediately we got the Worldwide Download Celebration power creep. And it was very hard for him to keep up in slot 1 just because he's not quite tuned enough for it. He does look good when he can survive there, but a lot of the times it's dangerous to put him in slot 1. So the fact that you can't get him there anymore just means that his team kind of needs that slot 1 help. But now we have it, right? One of our 10th anniversary headliners is going to be that help that he needs. So this guy might see a bit of a resurgence. We'll see. He's definitely still got a chance. The Tree of Might Goku, he is one of the hardest hitting AoE units in the game. So if you have a lot of missions to do for, any of like the training with Cyberman event, or any of those, I think that's the only one that's like permanently live, but some of those events do come around sometimes where you have to basically like kill all 5 enemies in one turn. And you have to keep doing that over and over and over and count up as high as you can go. This guy is one of the de facto best units in the game to use for that kind of a team, because his AoE, he does have an AoE on his 18 key super, and it hits so hard. So you could very easily clear those kind of events with him. and that's what you're needing. I don't know about his cohesiveness as far as world tournament teams. I feel like these days the Piccolo Junior team is pretty much what you want to go with, and he doesn't really fit on that leader skill, so I wouldn't really recommend him for world tournament. But if you did want to, you absolutely could. Again, he's a very, very hard-hitting AoE unit, so I don't imagine you would have any trouble if you did have to rely on him in world tournament. Oh, but by the way, other than that, he's an absolute fish. Like, don't take this guy into red zone or anything. You definitely don't want to do that. Bulma, yes, still one of the best units on this list. To be honest with you, so far, Beast is my first suggestion, and Bulma's number 2 of everything we've seen here. Yeah. Bulma is still absolutely amazing. Super Boo, I could say a lot of the same things I said about this Triomite Goku. He's got the really hard-hitting AoE. He does hit decently hard. He's got the Majin Power team going for him. Other than that, not too insane of a unit at this point. Okay, then we do have the 8th anniversary LRs. Could be decent pulls, I suppose. I think the GT boys still have a little bit more shine on them than the, the Boo boys do here. Are they on? They should be on Giant 8 Power, right? Surely. Or are they not because Goku is base form? Yeah, because Goku's base, they're not. So they also aren't on the Giant 8 Power leader skill. These guys are like just too old. And they're also on the banners. Like, these guys are on the Dokkan Fest banner right now, and then these guys are going to be on the Part 2 Dokkan Fest. So I would maybe say wait until your summons are done if you're planning on pulling a copy of them. Then we've got the superhero LRs, the fake Beast Gohan, and then pick Orange Piccolo. If you literally didn't have a copy of Orange Piccolo, I guess he could still be a good idea to pick up at this point. His giant transformation's still really useful. He's still one of the better units in the game at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Not amazing, but still good. Definitely not for either of these units. These 2023 worldwides or 2022 worldwide units. These ones are definitely power crept very, very heavily at this point. Yeah, we're not going to want any of this. Okay, now we're getting into like yellow coin LRs. You definitely don't want to spend. Yeah, anytime they give out these stones, you want to only be going for Dokkan Fest and Carnival units. You don't ever want to go for like banner units or for yellow coin LRs. The reason for that is because anytime a new banner releases, those units are available in the unfeatured pool. So you could pull them at any point ever, right? And it's also probable that eventually they'll come back featured on random stuff, right? So yeah, definitely don't want to pick up like yellow coin LR. So this Fusion Zamasu here, the Golden Frieza, yeah, these guys, I mean, none of these are good, like down here are good even, but all of these are yellow coin LRs, going down through the Part 2 LRs for the 7th anniversary. Now, the difference with them... Oh, I guess this is not a Carnival LR, or this is a Dokkan Fest LR, but he's still pretty old at this point. I wouldn't recommend getting him. So then these are the Part 2 LRs for the 7th anniversary. Remember, this is right before they created the Carnival system. So these are not yet Carnival LRs. They are Yellow Coin LRs. So you can pick them up on Yellow Coin banners. And then this Vegeta is actually featured on the Carnival banner right now. And this Kaioken Goku should be featured on the Part 2 banner. But it's pretty likely that they're going to be seeing Easy A's at some point in the celebration. So if that is the case, then just be prepared, because this could potentially be a very, very good pickup after they get their Easy A's, right? And then I could say the exact same thing about these two. This guy's on the banner right now. This guy's going to be on the Part 2 Dokkan Fest banner. And both of them should be seeing their Easy A's in the anniversary. I think that's almost guaranteed to happen. So if you don't have them and you aren't able to pull them, then these would absolutely be good picks post Easy A. I genuinely could see them making these number 1 and number 2 in the game post Easy A. Like, I wouldn't put it past Dokkan to do that. Okay, same deal with all these. These are all yellow coin LRs. You don't want to pick up any of these. Okay, and then these two Dokkan Fests are more units that we've placed onto the roadmap with predictions to Easy A. So these guys definitely could. The 2021, are we at? I've completely lost count of where we're at this point. 2021 Dokkan Fest headliners. Okay, and then we have Janemba and Gogeta. They are insane right now. These would be absolutely good pickups for you. These are two of the best units in the game right now. They have really good teams that they can be used on, and there's basically no content that either of these units can die in. So they are very, very good pickups for sure. Okay, then we have another slew of yellow coin LRs here. We've got the part 2. My god, there are so many units here. Oh my goodness. We have the part 2 LRs from the 6th anniversary here. And then the part 1 headliners. The part 2 LRs post EZA are pretty good. I don't know about quite good enough to be picking up here. Definitely the part 1 headliners are. The UI Goku especially is going to be strong just for years to come. He's going to be one of the best aging units in Dokkan history for sure. And then, yeah, the Vegeta is still very, very much a monster. And now with the new Evolution Blue Vegeta that just came out, all 4 of these units have just been buffed. Because now we have a 220% Universe Survival Saga leader skill that all these units can be used under. But yeah, just keep in mind that I don't think these 2 units are keeping up with other units like AGL Jiren and then like these 2, right? There's a couple of those really, really hard hitters, heavy hitters that are you know, just in another league, in another class. Okay, so some more banner units down here, or yellow coin LRs. This guy has not yet EZA'd. It's still possible that we see his EZA during the celebration. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. He'll probably be good once he does, but if he doesn't EZA in the celebration, then definitely wouldn't want to pick him up. Turles' EZA is not quite good enough to be purchased here, I don't think. Same thing with the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. He's pretty good, but there's better units around. I wouldn't recommend it. Just because he is a yellow coin LR too, he's not good enough to make the exception. I would just wait to pull him eventually. STR Vegito and Boot Tanks have kind of been power crept a little bit at this point. They're not quite as insane. They kind of put him in the same box with the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta there. Jiren, definitely not. These guys aren't the most insane anymore. Kind of on the same par as those other, you know, Universe 7 or Reps of 7 LRs that we were looking at. STR UI is always going to be a favorite in my book. The 70% chance to dodge is good enough for me. I don't really care about the rest of the kit. Any units that have that guaranteed 70% chance to dodge, just very valuable units in my opinion. And then obviously Nappa would be a no. Okay, so really quickly, because that was a lot of information, I'm going to go run back through it really quick, and I'm just going to basically say if the unit is tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. So tier 1 means you absolutely should get them. That is a cream of the crop unit. They would be an absolutely fine purchase and worth your money to pick up with this. Tier 2 is, I think they have some use. If it's a unit that you really like or think that is good for your box, it's definitely still worth. And then tier 3 is, please don't waste your money on this. Okay, so we'll go through this really, really quick. So we got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 3, tier 2, tier 2, tier 3, tier 1, tier 3, tier 3, tier 2, tier 3, tier 2, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3. If they get their EZAs, then they potentially will be tier 1. Right now, they're tier 3. If they get their EZAs, they will absolutely be tier 1. Right now, they're tier 2. Tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3. If they get their EZAs, they will be tier 1. But prior to that happening, they are both tier 3 as well. Tier 1, tier 1, tier 3, tier 3, tier 3, tier 2, tier 2, tier 3, tier 3, tier 1, tier 1, tier 2, tier 2, tier 2. Ugh, these are almost tier 3, but they're barely tier 2. Tier 3, tier 2, tier 2, and tier 3. Okay, well, that is my opinions on all of the units that you can pick up. If you guys have any further questions or want me to go into any more detail about anything that I've said here, if you have any more curiosities or need any help deciphering anything else to decide how to spend your, you know, hard-earned stones, then please let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to clarify anything that I've said for you. All right, well, that is going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.